About 7 decades ago, the strips of concrete that now make up Sebring International Raceway were used for World War II aircraft. Time has not been gentle to the pavement here. Much like the history of the place, every pebble in the aggregate is worn down with a story to tell. The raceway opened in 1950, and since then it's hosted racing of all types, including the US Grand Prix in 1959. It's also host to the world-famous 12 Hours of Sebring, which occurs every March with the WeatherTech United Sports Car Championship. Tonight's race is far from an endurance event. It's a pair of all-out sprint events, 15 minutes each, and at the end we'll crown a champion after 4 incredible weeks of racing. Welcome to SYM TV's presentation of the Track Midwest Cup Series season finale in Finian. Man, was last week at Road America a fantastic race to watch.
Yeah, indeed it was. It was a great event put on by these guys. Very interesting event. A lot of drama between some of the drivers in the field. But really just overall great racing towards the front of the pack.
And the point standings, of course, obviously quite a good event for DJ Alessandrini last week, and the difference between the top two, 19 points. It's going to have to be a bad day for Alessandrini if anyone else wants a chance to win.
Yeah, really effectively. Alessandrini kind of has this locked in. As long as he can get a decent finish inside the top 10 in both races, he should be fine. That being said, though, Paul Darling and Kenneth Hausiel got to be on their top game to try to beat them.
As Eric Coutil right now qualifying. Let's take a look at our running order so far. No one has actually completed a lap just yet here, Finian, but Sebring International Raceway, known for being extremely harsh on the race cars. Very, very bumpy around this place.
Indeed, very bumpy. I mean, the surface has not been repaved since forever.
So it's been a long time. I mean, I know the asphalt gets repaved every once in a while, but the concrete runways and taxiways that the airport used to be built on had pretty much been the same ever since 1950. And this is a great section here, Finian. Very fluid through there, and tall curbs that you can actually hook with this car. Again, the Porsche 911 Cup car, very susceptible to curb jumping. It likes to jump in the air, and this is a good place to do it. The curbs here are very tall, but some of them you kind of want to avoid if you want to get a good lap time around here.
Yeah, I think really just also adds into the bumpiness. You really don't want to get the car in a bumpy state in the first place, because there's already a bunch of bumps that can upset the car here in the turn, so you got to be a little bit careful, a little bit on your best behavior.
And look at the rubber on the racetrack here. It's kind of in and out, because that is called Sunset Bend. And Finian, at this racetrack, that is probably the most difficult corner to get around. That car is jumping and hopping and sliding through there. It's a very, very crazy corner to drive, but it's a lot of fun as a race car driver, and this place is really known for that corner in particular.
It's nice, too, with the new weather system that we have, actually, a sunset.
Yeah, well, actually, I believe it's morning here right now, so let's take a look at our information, actually. 66 in the air, 66 on the track, mostly cloudy conditions, at a 17-turn road course here in Sebring, and the track is very cool, and that's going to be very grippy and fast. We've seen lap times under 2 minutes and 3 seconds. And the driver that's been the quickest all week, again, is DJ Alessandrini. Going to be hard to beat him again here this week.
I mean, he's just the man that's shown to be at the top of his form in these races, and I think it just really shows why he would be the one to win the championship overall. So I think he's definitely going to be the favorite for this race. And again, it's really just a matter of all the other guys chasing him down. He's in a pretty comfortable position.
All right, let's take a look at what makes the Porsche 911 Cup car so fun to drive. We'll be back with you in a minute. The Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car is a single-seat GT-style race car based on the 991 Porsche platform. The Track Midwest Cup Series will race the 991 Cup car at Virginia International Raceway, Sebring International Raceway, Sonoma Raceway, and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. The engine is a 485 horsepower flat 6, producing peak horsepower at 7,500 RPM and a peak torque of 480 Newton meters at 6,250 RPM. The aerodynamic shell of the 991 Cup car includes a widened 911 GT3 wing made of carbon fiber, as well as a carbon fiber splitter and underbody paneling. The braking system is composed of a multi-piece steel brake disc, internally vented and slotted with a 380mm diameter. 6-piston monoblock racing brake calipers grip the front discs, while 4-piston calipers grip the rear. The gearbox is a 6-speed sequential type dogbox transmission, which connects to the engine with a triple disc sintered metal racing clutch. Drivers will have to master this extremely challenging car without the help of anti-lock brakes, traction control, or stability control. All right, there's Doug Metzel finishing his lap 18th on the grid. Jeremy Swenson in a, looks like a Days of Thunder paint scheme this week. So currently sitting on pole, but a couple fast guys have yet to go out.
Yeah, indeed. Still waiting on Alessandrini to put down his time, but some other notables to the front of the field, Halcyon, Foose, and Pelota actually just put in a faster time than Swenson, half a second faster around the track. So fantastic job by Pelota, and again waiting for a few more drivers. Also O'Gorman putting in a solid time in 5th place.
Yeah, speaking of Tom O'Gorman, this is a really cool story that we have to share, and we posted about it on Twitter and Facebook. But Tom O'Gorman, as we learned last week mid-race, he is a real-world driver in the IMSA WeatherTech Series. Or not in the WeatherTech Series, the Michelin Pilot. The name changing is confusing me. The Michelin Pilot Challenge in the, what's the class called? TCR, the touring car class. And Tom O'Gorman went out last week in his Honda Civic and went out and won at Daytona in the TCR category on Friday at Daytona International Speedway. So we want to wish Tom, first of all, congratulations. And second of all, what a cool experience to have Tom O'Gorman racing with us and also in the Real World Series over there in the Michelin Pilot Challenge. I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully at Watkins Glen as well.
Yeah, well, best of luck to him in that series. Also the Blancpain GT America Series.
Yeah, so pretty neat that Tom O'Gorman is with us here. No Kenton Cook. Kenton Cook was also there at the Pirelli Michelin Continental Firestone. I don't know what series is the Michelin Pilot Challenge, but yeah, he's not here tonight as he was last week at Road America. DJ Alessandrini, however, is here, and he's our points leader and out for a qualifying lap right now. That was kind of a poor exit of turn number 16 there, so hopefully he gets a good launch, and he'll probably still lay it down at 201. They raced in a practice race last night, and I was in that race, and it was wicked fast. No one could even touch him here, so I expect more of the same here tonight, but I guess it ain't over till it's over here, and there's still a lot of racing left. I mean, 15 minutes times 2 races, there's still some time for him to mess this up, and obviously we don't wish that on him, but with so many cars, if you have a poor qualifying run, it could be a bad day for you.
Yeah, I'm sure guys like Darling and Halcyon are hoping that he messes up, but as he comes across the stripe, 5th place already for Alessandrini. It looks like he's going to continue on to put a second time down.
And with the changes to the Porsche 911 991 in iRacing a few weeks ago, the first lap out is not going to be your quickest. The warmer you get the tires, the faster you're going to be, to an extent, obviously. So he's going to go out for another lap. You see him take a big chunk of curb there through turns 3, 4, and 5, then out onto this little kinked back straightaway heading towards the hairpin, which is really a second gear corner, maybe even first gear, depending on how slow or how much traffic is in front of you. So as we head down to the hairpin here, you'll see Alessandrini nearly 150 miles an hour, hard onto the brakes, down all the gears, and then swing around this hairpin for accelerating back onto, this isn't really much of a back straight, but the S's section here. Then we head over to a very sharp right-hander. This one's very misleading here. It's a lot tighter than it looks, so get that speed all the way down. That's a curve you want to avoid, and Alessandrini does it nicely. Swing back over to the left, and then back to the right, and this is a double right-hand corner. There's a little bit of a piece there, and then you go hard on the brakes down to second or third gear, whatever your preference is. Across the curb, out to track out, and then you've got the fun S's portion coming up. One of my favorite parts of the racetrack, especially to look at from above, Finney. It is a very cool-looking section.
Yeah, indeed. Very cool looking section. Very flowy section, as you're trying to say earlier.
Fluey.
But yeah, definitely, it's very much a rhythm section. If you mess up one turn, it can completely throw you off, and especially that kink left into the final turn before the back straightaway. If you mess it up, you can end up getting and have time on this street. You can lose a lot of time overall the race, and that's a lot of positions overall. So these guys want to be, again, on their best behavior, make sure they don't cut any corners, and also spin out, because again, big field here tonight as usual, and you don't want to lose those spots. And then through Sunset Bend, you see the car bumping and sliding around. Alessandrini counter steering there to hold the car straight on the front straightaway again. This will probably be an improvement. Let's see what it is. And it is a 2:07.2, right to the top of the board goes Alessandrini. So quickest in qualifying so far. And the next closest guy is Andrew Pelota, back 1/10 of a second. And interestingly, that's the same exact gap that there was between the top two in practice, 0.133 seconds. So he's going to go out again, maybe even try to improve upon that. But let's take another look at James Patak in the Pennzoil 911. Does he have some damage to the nose? Indeed he does. So he's been into the fence. He might want to fix that before he puts on another lap. Well, actually,
don't have enough time to get back out.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough time, so I guess that's why he's continuing to soldier on.
And Mr. Kachow, Bradley Adams in the Rusty's painted car here this week again. Has not had the greatest couple weeks, but maybe looking for a little redemption, but only 25th on the board right now.
Yeah, Adam's currently 11th in points, just outside of the top 10, so hoping to at least get a few more points here. Maybe finish the season in the top 10.
Brandon Abbott in a bright red number 30 car here tonight. Got a yellow stripe down alongside, I believe it's his brother, the other Abbott, in the number 25 car. That's Andrew Abbott. And Dan Capaldo, whoop, he's in the fence on the back straight. What about Derek Yarbrough in the 857? Entered the session a little bit late in that camouflaged 857, and hopefully he can get a little bit better time in here as he's currently 34th in qualifying.
He's just about got one more lap in it. Gonna cut it very close.
Yeah, he should get another lap in here pretty easily, actually. Another 5 or 6 seconds. It might not have been so, but crosses the line. Will it be an improvement that time through? It is, but only up to 32nd, a 207.126, and he's going to call it quits there. Let's see. There's Ida in the 31 car. Or Ito, excuse me. I keep messing that up. I taught myself how to not say it wrong, and then it's been a week, and I've kind of forgotten things, but Waxman in the 31, currently 20th. Alex Barroso, haven't seen him yet in the 41 car this week, currently 5th on the grid, so he's going to have a pretty good starting spot. And Wes Malusik in the 28, also on track, does not have a time in yet, and I believe this is a flying lap.
Yeah, I hope for his sake it is. He's going to, again, cut it kind of close here with only a minute and 20 remaining in the session. Can't put down more. It pretty much ends immediately, so he needs to hurry up and get back to the line as soon as he can.
This again, we're heading to that fast, fun section. And remember, you talked about getting the cut course there, Finian. The one place that doesn't have a cut course is the outside to turn 16. You can swing as far out. That's going to be a cut course there for sure.
And another one.
Yeah. But right here, if you were going to go all the way out left, you can see where the rubber goes outside that white line. That's fair game. That, however, is not.
Yeah, I think this is Malusik giving up on his time. Unfortunately, he's going to be starting at the tail end of the field.
Here's Waxman coming through turn number 17, Sunset Bend. And bumpy through turn 17, back out onto the front straightaway. 30 seconds left in qualifying. 30 more seconds for Waxman to get an improvement on this time. Across the line, and it will be... Looks like a 205.541, so no improvement there.
Might have had an off. Might have had an off.
Yeah, I think you're right. An off track there definitely will not count that lap. So with 10 seconds left, that's going to give the pole to DJ Alessandrini. No surprise there. Pelota, Hausil, Wilkinson, Barroso, your top 5, and that is pretty much who's been dominating this series so far. But remember, last week, Hausil had a horrible race number 1 at Road America and ended up losing a lot of points and has a pretty big gap to make up on Alessandrini if he wants to win the championship. We're ready to go racing here at Sebring. Standing start here in this race tonight as we get ready to go for 15 minutes, about 8 laps.
Yeah, it's about 8 laps because of this track again. Now, very long laps around here, over 2 minutes. So in the kind of in the long variety of laps out of racetracks around the world, most laps are usually under a minute.
Well, yeah, under 2 minutes. You mean? I think there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, under a minute. I mean, we're talking NASCAR. That'd be the case. I mean, these things probably oval race pretty well. I don't know, but I don't think these guys are really into that. I think they're ready to go right and left today.
And rolling start apparently.
Oh, okay. It said standing.
Well, but you did check the second session, so unless they changed it between both.
Okay, well,
they apparently love throwing us for a loop, or at least you for a loop.
I have never gotten my prediction right. Every single time I've guessed what kind of start it is, it's the opposite. So I think they're just messing with me at this point.
Probably.
But yeah, okay, there we go. 1 to green, and we got a bunch of drivers ready to go racing here tonight. And Finian, a grid over 40 once again. The best numbers we've seen. Look at the size of that field. I mean, we've seen numbers like this all season, but it's the most consistent grid I think we've ever had here on SYM TV, and also record-breaking numbers again with the amount of live viewers that we had, as well as the almost 1,000 views on that first week at VIR. The other 2 races sitting around 600, 650. But still some pretty fantastic racing that we've seen here on SYM TV. Sonoma, we had a little bit of a glitch there with hardware in race number 1, but for the rest of that we've seen, it's been absolutely fantastic to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, when you talk, just the most consistent large grids we've seen, yeah, every single week these guys have had fields over 40 cars, so it's fantastic to see week in and week out for these guys. I can't wait to see another race, and the final race, at least for now, here on SYM TV for these guys.
Yeah, and there is a plan. There is a plan for this series to return here to SYM TV, although they still have to work out the details as it's on the same night as the upcoming Host Venom Cup Series presented by Fuel. So we have some details to work out there to make sure that we get both of those on SYM TV, and that will probably include splitting ourselves up into separate teams, which is the first time we've ever done such a thing. So not exactly sure about the details yet, but keep your eye out, and we'll let you know on our Facebook or our Twitter, as well as our website. So keep an eye out for that information. And DJ Alessandrini again sitting on pole with dozens of drivers behind him, and Finian, all you got to do is keep yourself out of the fray. I think you're going to have a good night here. Yeah,
definitely so, especially turn 2 here. It's a very tight section of track before it shoot these guys out towards the hairpin, so a lot of crashes typically happen here on lap number 1 in any kind of series of cars, so I think that's where we're potentially seeing a big pileup.
And you see Rob Wilkinson sitting in 4th, a good start for that number 37 car here tonight. Barroso again starting in 5th, the number 41 car, usually in the 39, so obviously not the same number here tonight, but maybe mixing things up. Jeremy Swenson in 6th in the number 18, and then there's Tom O'Gorman, winner from the Michelin Pilot Challenge at Daytona last Friday. He is here starting 8th tonight, had a good run in at least race 1 at Road America last week.
Christopher Potter there in 9th, and in 10th, Justin Hill in the 48, starting outside of him in row 5.
In row number 6, Andrew Lanning and Paul Darling. And Paul Darling, you actually pulled up a great picture from your phone back when we were at Watkins Glen, the Salem 6 Hours last July. We did the Mazda Hot Lap Challenge, and you and I were on the board, and you know who was in front of both of us? Paul Darling.
Yeah, and little we know, a few months later we'd actually meet him again in the sim. So
it's kind of such a small world.
Yeah, small world.
Yeah, so, and we'll hopefully run across him this year, and hopefully you can be back for the 6 hours again, so not sure about that, but we'll let everyone know if we're going out there. We'll meet up and have a little meet up there with the SYM TV folks, and working our way through the backside of the course, getting ready to go racing again. You see Ido Waxman in the number 31, starting all the way back in 20th, was not able to improve on that qualifying time. And you see the 007 in 22nd, and the rest of the grid scrolling across your screen as we head our way towards the back straight here at Sebring. And then we get to go through Sunset Bend one final time at a slow speed before the next 8 laps or so will be at about 100 miles an hour. And remember these curbs here. You can use them to hook the car around, but don't get your tires caught on them because you'll upset the car, especially Finian, the cold tires on the Porsche 911 Cup car. Very, very tricky, and you got to be careful not to spin yourself out on lap number 1. I think that's going to be a big challenge. This first corner is high load laterally. There's almost no banking. It's a very, very flat. Actually, I don't believe there is any banking. It's very, very flat. You have to carry a lot of momentum through there, so it's going to be very awkward for a lot of these drivers to get a hold of that. So as they roll their way down the back straightaway, there's the rest of your grid scrolling across the screen as we get ready to go racing for 15 minutes here at Sebring with DJ Alessandrini and Andrew Pelota on the front row through turn number 17. Here we come. Pace cars off, 15 minutes on the board. And DJ Alessandrini in the number 91 Porsche will lead them down. Green flag flies. We're racing here at Sebring.
You can see guys still coming out of Sunset Bend as we take the green flag, and we see drivers fanning out across the track, trying to make up some ground. But here they go into turn 1, 3 wide.
3 wide. I think we got some 4 wide. Well, there we go. 4 wide in the middle of the field here, Finney. But so far, so good. No carnage yet that we can see. As the rest of the field tries to get through there without much contact, you see that everyone's spreading out, and Alessandrini's been dethroned at the front of the grid here, Finian, and we're 3 wide behind him, but so far no spins that I can see.
Yeah, Alcil put up a fantastic move on the inside of turn 1 and 2, was able to get ahead of Alessandrini, and he's trying to make sure that he can get as much points as possible here to start running first.
Field works their way down to the hairpin on lap number 1, and Pelota's been shuffled all the way back to 4th place as the rest of the field works their way through. We got one looking to the inside, stopped on the grid. The 31 car, Ido Waxman spun around in the hairpin. Everyone scrambles behind trying to miss it, and Barroso gets caught up in it.
Oh, and he gets hit off the track too. That's a dangerous part to get hit off the track, but he gets it back on the pavement.
I think everyone else is through there okay here, Finian. So a little bit of a chaotic moment through the hairpin, but Hausil leads DJ Alessandrini in the middle of lap 1.
But it's still very close up towards the front of the field between these two drivers.
See, dragging a wheel off the edge of the curb there. Don't want to get on the power too much because you can spin your car out, but battle for the lead here in the middle of lap number 1. Alessandrini trying to hunt down Ken Hausil after Hausil, I believe he started in 3rd place, is able to grab that lead away on the initial start.
They see everyone taking that extra little bit of payment that they can use to get onto the back straight, get a run down this long back straightaway. And this, we're going to see a lot of guys drafting. Speaking of drafting, there you see Hausil trying to break up the draft, snaking down the back straightaway.
And everyone's kind of doing the snake back there. One of those cars was way wide as we look towards the rear here. And there's Barroso in the 41, who was started in 5th place and is all the way back to 19th. So a horrible start for the 41. We saw him get caught up in that incident earlier with Ido Waxman, who is alongside him right now. And one car was really wide here, and that was that Magnoli, or?
Yeah, it was Magnoli in the 007.
For the lead here, Finian, nose to tail, Hausil and Alessandrini.
And again, Alessandrini not in a position where he really necessarily needs this, but I'm sure he definitely wants to win in this race no matter what. And he's definitely bringing the fight to Hausil.
Ooh, we saw Alessandrini get really squirrely there at the exit of that corner and kind of walked the rear end all over the place, but now trying to chase down Hausil in that Brumos Porsche paint. That is a good-looking car.
It is a fantastic-looking car here as you see Alessandrini chasing him down towards the hairpin here.
Hard on the brakes. We see Hausil get a little bit wobbly there into the braking zone. Got a lot of rear brake bias cranked in that car as the rest of the field. Oh, we got Paul Darling, a little bit of damage there, and that's Wilkinson that's wide.
Yeah, Wilkinson was in a fight with a couple of drivers there before that happened, and now his car is just completely torn up.
Yeah, that wing is going to be not very useful at this point. And Philip Corsi's around in the hairpin. And Pruden is off as well. A little bit of an incident there. We'll quickly go back and take a look at it. And these two just kind of ran out of racing room. I think the 8 car kind of pinched heading into the corner. Hard impact for the 8 car. He goes way wide and managed to slide the car before impacting the wall, but contact there between those drivers. Meanwhile, out up front, the battle for the lead continues between the top 2.
Indeed, as Alessandrini closes in, but it looks like he's having some trouble trying to get around Hausil. Hausil making his car nice and wide through most of the track, so I think Alessandrini's kind of running out of places where he can make a pass, but here's definitely a prime one coming up.
Less than 0.3 of a second separate the top 2, and Pelota is there if anything happens, but they work their way through Sunset Bend now as we've got quite a battle going on here down the back straightaway. Let's look from up above and see what we can see. We got one slow, and it's, I can't tell exactly who it is. Doug Metzel in the Falcon car, I believe, and yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm guessing he was still probably had to give us some time, maybe cut a part of the track or before there. Got to give it up all on the straightaway. The big battle up ahead. We see also Wilkinson with his wing bent from the damage he got earlier.
They're trying to make that work. Here's a battle for, looks like 22nd place, Justin Hill in the red 48 car and Jeff Pritchard in the number 29. And that is a torn up race car, the 007, also with some damage. Oh, Ken Hausil off the racetrack. Where did he go? No. Oh, he's back. It was internet. Thank goodness. I thought he had crashed out for a moment as he disappeared off our timing screens, but he's still there, just an internet issue for the 24 car. As Alessandrini closes in once again, still a battle for the lead, and this is intense here, Finney, with 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah, it's very intense indeed. Probably one of the closest battles on the racetrack already between most of the drivers.
And Alessandrini is so smooth here. But Hausil is so quick, I just don't know if Alessandrini is faster enough to be able to get a pass done here. He's going to have to really set him up or maybe use the draft to his advantage.
James Patak in the 721, he fell quite a few positions, was around 14th. I know, this is what happened here.
I was entering the hairpin area.
And it was Ryan Rob Wilkinson who's in 12th now.
He pulled out for an overtake and locked up the rears and whoop, went for a little spin there, but no harm, no foul, just sent some dirt flying. The rest of the car's okay. Bradley Adams and Luke McGrew side by side for 17th place. As they work their way towards the S's now, and it looks like they're going to try to get themselves single filed out. Whoa! A little bit of pushing and shoving. Will Fisher might have gotten a piece. Thomas Foose is off the racetrack there. He's going to have to cut that corner, maybe give up some more time in slowdown form. Dennis Barrett goes for a loop here, Finney, and he's in the wall.
That's unfortunate for him. He's going to have to try to get this looped around, but that's a very dangerous part of the track to be in, trying to loop it around.
And I think he might have just locked up the tires, just got on the curb and hooked the right front tire around there, Finney. And we talked about that in the pre-race. That was going to be something he had to avoid doing.
Yeah, just looped it around there. Pretty much a textbook thing that happened to him. So unfortunately for him, he's going to be put back quite a few spots. There's still battle here in Sunset between Bradley Adams, I believe, and some other drivers.
And Ido Waxman, Justin Hill, Will Fisher, all in this group. A battle for the lead here, Finian. And looks like how Alessandrini spun it. He's looped it. The 91 goes around and
here
spins.
Comes Gorman right now getting around Alessandrini. That puts him in fourth. And again, this is one of the things that Alessandrini can afford to do. And is still trying to find some grip as he's got Jeremy Swenson behind him in the 18, right? Trying to make a move here in the hairpin.
And we'll keep an eye on this, and then we'll go back and take a look at what happened to Alessandrini. No damage on that car, but you mentioned it, Finian. You can't afford to make mistakes, and Alessandrini doesn't make a whole lot of them, but let's quickly take a look, and he did spin it all the way around. Here is a replay of it.
Here you see him head down to turn 2. And just too hard the brakes. Ooh, actually hit Hausil. Wow.
Yeah, he looped it all the way around, and that's what put him back, but he's only in position number 4 right now, so there is time for him to recuperate from that at least a little bit. I don't know if he'll get back to Hausil, but he's got some work to do now. Andrew Abbott in the 25 was slow. James Patak around again. Is that the hairpin once more? I believe it is.
And he is just not having fun with this corner at the moment. That's the second lap in a row he's had trouble.
Yeah, the same situation that we saw Alessandrini do. Just got in the too hot. Almost rear-ended the driver in front and had to get out of it.
Yeah, it's again a car you have to be very patient on the brakes, and it's really not a car you can try to outbrake someone in. Or if you're going to do so, you have to be very skilled and very talented to pull it off.
Ido Waxman running right in front of Justin Hill. This group of drivers has been battling for most of the race. We got another one off the racetrack. Andrew Landing spun right at the exit.
Right in the middle of traffic.
Of turn number 16, and he's going to get it off the racetrack just in time for. Looks like that was Barroso and Metzel that just got around, but let's quickly take a look. I don't want to pull away from too much live action here, but...
And Landing was running in 7th when this happened, and around he went.
Yeah, just got the curb a little bit and sent him around, but now he's right in the middle of a battle with... that is Waxman and Hill getting around him.
Oh, and someone's sideways.
Waxman's wide and spinning into the fence at the exit of turn 17 there, yeah. Barroso Wilkinson trading spots on the front straight here. Look at all the battles going on in the racetrack here.
Intensity has picked up tremendously here in the last lap or so.
And Barroso trying to recover from that lap 1 incident that knocked him all the way down to 19th. He's recovered to 13th, so up 6 after starting in the 5th spot.
Yeah, also Wilkinson up ahead in 11th after his early troubles for the damaged car. He's managed to bring that car up into 11th place.
And Philip Corsi on pit lane, probably going to receive some damage service there, but let's head back up to the front. Ken Hausil leads now by 2.4 seconds over Andrew Pelota. Tom O'Gorman sitting in 3rd, but here is Alessandrini, and this is the battle between Alessandrini and real-world IMSA race car driver Tom O'Gorman. This is absolutely phenomenal, especially look at the opportunity that iRacing gives you to race real drivers in any real-world series. That is pretty cool to see Alessandrini get loose there.
Just showing Alessandrini, he doesn't give a damn what he drives in real life. He wants to get around him as soon as possible. But I mean, Alessandrini can kind of use this in his favor for looking at race number 2 to give him a starting spot further towards the front. Remember, top 10 inverted after this race ends, so he would be starting in around 7th place when they take the green flag for the next race and after this race is done.
Everyone kind of single-filed out now with less than 5 minutes remaining, so it looks like Hausil has put himself in a great spot to pick up a victory. Alessandrini has some work to do if he wants to get back on the podium, but there are still some battles going on around the racetrack, and we'll take it to them. Rob Wilkinson and Luke McGrew in one of them, and they're obviously trying to pull a little weave maneuver down the back straightaway. Whoa, is that Waxman? I'm trying to see who that is.
Lanning and Waxman fighting for position.
Indeed it is. Actually, is that? There's the 36 car of Bob Dice. The same paint scheme on that car. Ooh, Justin Hill really working Sunset Bend on the outside line there. That's another, it's kind of a multi-groove corner if you do it the right way, Finney. You can run outside, you can run inside. A lot of times the inside requires you to take the bumps a lot harder, and it can be slower depending on the driver.
Bob Dice trying to look to the inside of landing, but can't get it done in turn number 1. The landing, solid recovery, only in 13th, trying to move up some spots. Then up ahead, Luke McGrew looked like he was going to make a pass on the inside of Wilkinson, wasn't able to get it done.
Alessandrini taking a look to the outside of Tom O'Gorman into the hairpin, can't get it done. Well, maybe he'll try to cross him over on exit. Ooh, Gorman protects. That was a great move by Tom O'Gorman to pull down and block the advantage. It's a very popular move to do the crossover on corner exit, and Gorman blocked it perfectly. And Alessandrini goes wide. Here he comes, trying to get to the inside.
Again, difficult car to try to outbrake in, and I'm sure Alessandrini definitely knows that for a fact, but you got to be very careful and can't let your aggression get up too high, otherwise you can find yourself being looped around. And he can't actually breathe for too long because he's got Jeremy Swenson behind breathing down his neck. So Alessandrini kind of in trouble here.
Ooh, he gets wide and gets into the dirt here, but he's going to have an opportunity to take a swing at Tom O'Gorman here on the back straightaway with the slipstream. So here he goes through the S's now. Watch the curbs, watch the cut course, setting themselves up for the back straight.
Really, this is just a matter of setting yourself up for this run here. You see Alessandrini swinging out just a little bit wider than O'Gorman.
Oh, you see O'Gorman slip just a little bit, and that's going to give Alessandrini a move here. You see O'Gorman protecting the inside, and Alessandrini will not stay back 500 feet. Here he comes to the outside.
HUC outside going to Sunset. They're going to be side by side. Who has got the bigger balls trying to break into here?
Oh. And O'Gorman's going to have the preferred line, but Alessandrini's going to try to cross him up here on the exit of turn 17. Who's going to have the run down the front straight? Here comes Alessandrini again all the way to the grass.
Yeah, O'Gorman took him to the grass just before the pit road entry. Trying to defend that move. There's Alessandrini looking to the outside of O'Gorman. O'Gorman's going to block him off.
An incredible battle for the podium spot here with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining, about 2 laps to go. And Alessandrini's doing everything he can. Can he get to the outside? Not quite. He's going to have to maybe send it for a dive here in a moment.
Yeah, again, it's going to be very hard to send it for a dive, or he can give a little bit of a bump to O'Gorman right there, trying to show that he wants to get around. But these guys fighting has allowed Swenson and even Paul Darling back there in 6th to catch up. So we got pretty much a 4-way battle for 3rd champion.
Heading to the hairpin now. Will Alessandrini make the same mistake he did with House Heel? We get on the brakes too hard. No, he gets in there nicely. Maybe he'll try to cross up O'Gorman again. Gets to the inside. Maybe a touch there as they work their way through the S's.
I noticed that Mellow Yellow car got very big in appearance there. Really braked in hard. So Swenson trying to make up some ground here, and he might be able to have a shot here as Alessandrini just cannot find a way around Tom O'Gorman.
Up over the curbs goes Alessandrini, using every bit of the racetrack to his advantage. As we got a big pileup, big slowdown here.
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
bunch of cars.
Massive. Yeah, that was a massive wreck. See if we can get a replay of that.
I think we might be better off going from aerial cam here. Oh man, it was Justin Hill.
Whoa.
Hill was the first one I think that was involved in that. And let's quickly, I want to get a better look at this here.
And there's Lanning, and he gets into, I can't tell.
It was a 27 car. That would have been, trying to see who that, that's Thomas Foose, I believe.
Yes, that is.
So a little bit of a chaotic moment there, but let's head back up to the front. Keep an eye on our friends here as Alessandrini and O'Gorman are side by side again for 3rd place. And Alessandrini almost had him cleared there for a moment as they head into Sunset Bend. Side by side, door to door.
He's got the preferred line. Here they come. They're going to take the white flag. As Alessandrini tries to power it out, he might actually have a shot here, and I think he is going to make the move.
Yeah, he's going to clear O'Gorman by the time they get to turn 1, but will he keep the spot now? 1 lap to go here at Sebring.
O'Gorman's going to try to probably do the switch back here into 1. Can't get it done.
There's a lap car in the way. Split him 3 wide for a moment. No, O'Gorman backs out, tries again. It's the 38 car. He spins right into Tom O'Gorman and flips him over, barrel rolling over the tires, and out of the race goes Tom O'Gorman. Just like that.
And I'm sure O'Gorman is not going to be happy with that. Similar to what happened to him at Road America last week.
Oh, man. What a terrible ending for O'Gorman. Alessandrini gets that podium spot. Oh, man. Paul Darling back up to 4th place after the chaos there. There's a battle. Bradley Adams, Will Fisher nose to tail. Bob Dice, Luke McGrew closing in from behind.
Yeah, this is a tight battle here for 10th place. Bradley Adams trying to defend it from Will Fisher behind. And Fisher looking to the inside. But that's a very risky move. He can dive it from there. He cannot get it done.
And through the, ooh, got one. That's McGrew takes a real sharp cut to the inside of the hairpin. We'll probably have to give up some time, but let's check and see where Ken Hausiel is. He's working his way onto the back straightaway for one final time. It's been a long time since he's outshadowed DJ Alessandrini in the 91 car, but DJ lost the lead early and wasn't able to get it back. So Ken Hausiel will come down the back straightaway one more time, and hopefully, as long as he makes it through Sunset, we'll collect another victory here.
Indeed, it was a great job done by the 24 of Hausiel, and as you see a battle here between Fisher and Adams.
Oh, we got one around. That's Robert Cusera on the number 9. Spun out, and he's going to drop a couple spots, but out of the final corner, Ken Hausiel picks up race 1 victory here at Sebring in the Track Midwest Cup Series. Pelota comes home in 2nd place. Alessandrini, after a wild battle with Tom O'Gorman that ended in disaster.
Almost his tire wall there got loose out of Sunset. He'll come home in 3rd. Paul Darling will have a valiant effort back into 4th place. Jeremy Swinson 5th. Christopher Potter will come out of Sunset into 6th. Cusera, unfortunately, he's going to finish back in 7th, losing a few spots in the final few turns. Doug Metzel is going to finish in 8th.
Yeah, the timing's going to jump around here. 8th place indeed for the 63 car. Rob Wilkinson comes home in 9th place. Damaged that car.
Look at that car.
4th.
That car is damaged to every single side of it. Still drove it away, and Will Fisher will finish in 10th.
So the rest of the field works their way around the racetrack here. We're not done racing in some parts of the track here, Finian. Look at Andrew Abbott. A lot of nose damage to that 25 car. He'll round turn number 17. And here's a battle for 23rd spot. They're still trading positions here.
Here they are, a pass by the 29. That's Jeff Pritchard, sorry.
I think it's just Pritchard, I believe. Ryan Kristoff goes for a loop there. He's going to lose a couple spots right at the finish. Ryan Kristoff does, and that's a shame, a bad way to end the race, but he'll come across the line. It looks like probably 25th or 6th. 26th, I believe, in the 46 car. A couple more cars still finishing here.
Yeah, I mean, just shows you how long the lap is around here. The guy's still coming to the finish line.
Yeah, both the Abbott brothers with severe damage to their race cars. Philip Corsi was off the track a couple times. No damage to that thing after sending it for a spin and the hairpin more than once. And Nathan Chavin in the 26 car. That thing is completely destroyed.
Yeah, indeed, it is an amazing job that he's able to at least limp that car back. Unfortunately, it is going to only be for about 31st place.
And up and over the bumps, and the suspension really not taking much of anything at this point. And he is the last car on the lead lap, so Chavin will come across the line in 31st place. And that will officially conclude race number 1 here at Sebring for the Track Midwest Cup Series. I do want to go back and take a look at the incident with Tom O'Gorman and that lap car there, Finn, and take another couple replays. And then we will interview the podium drivers before we head on to race number 2. And let's quickly take a look and see if we can find that incident once again. And it's going to take me a moment to find this. And I think we're going to just do it by lap. It might be an easier way to do it. And bear with me as we continue to try to grab. It wasn't on the last lap, it was lap 7, I believe. Let's go back and grab, maybe this will help if we just grab Alessandrini. Alright. Here we go. Yeah, so that was the Turner-colored car. There's the 38. Let's go back and take another look. Get a couple different angles here. And so really what happened here is that they kind of crossed up. It looked like they were going to go 3 wide, and O'Gorman thought better of it and swung back to the right, and they kind of caught the 38 car off guard. Whoa, and that was quite the ride there. Who was that 38 car? I'm trying to grab who it was.
William Griffin.
And let's maybe ride on board the rear here and see what Griffin saw. Looks in the mirror, it kind of scares him, looks up for a second, gets on the brakes too hard, not wanting to hit Alessandrini, and sends O'Gorman for a wild flipping spin over towards the barrier. And obviously that wrecked both cars pretty well. And woo, a little contact there with someone passing on by. And that would have been it for the 38 car. So that'll be it for the replays there. But Finian, obviously, Hausiel, again, did extremely well and won by 3.6 seconds that time.
Indeed, and again, he's in the fight for trying to beat DJ Alessandrini. Again, we still got one more race to decide who's going to be the champion. So this is going to help his efforts, but is it enough?
All right, we'll be back in just a minute. We'll show you the rest of the results and be right back with Ken Hausiel and others. Stay with us. Welcome back live here to SYM TV, and we're here now with race winner Ken Hausiel. Ken, that one, you finally got another one here at Sebring. A little bit of a wild battle with DJ Alessandrini. Some contact meant that he finished back in third place, but you drove away out and off into the sunset with a 3.6 second lead and took a victory. What's it going to take to repeat in race number 2?
I'm going to have to I think I'll have to get lucky again. I mean, the top 10 this week is crazy strong, and starting 10th is going to be a little difficult.
Obviously, the bumps out here are extremely rough, but the conditions seem relatively cool. So is the track temperature making the bumps and bangs a little bit better in the Porsche 911?
I don't know if it's the track temperature or what, but honestly, the bumps don't seem too bad except for the final corner. I mean, if you take a tight line there, which is the preferred line, it is really bumpy, and you have to wait so long to get on the throttle.
All right, Ken. Well, obviously, race 1 went very, very well for you. Race 2, you're going to be starting in 10th spot. So is this really just a survival statement now for race number 2, or are you going out there and you're going to try to get everything you can for that championship?
I got to go for everything.
All right. Well, one more race left in the season to do it. Congrats, Ken. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
All right, it'll be second place. Andrew Pelota now in the booth with us. And Andrew, there was quite a lot of battling going on with the top couple drivers, and you snuck yourself in there for a solid second place finish. Walk us through that race and tell us what you're looking forward to for race number 2.
Yeah, so really, really my only goal was to just put in some clean laps, because I've had some pretty bad luck with some of the past races with getting collected by other cars or making a mistake and getting stuck. So really, I just tried to keep it consistent and not really take too many chances. I just didn't have anything for Ken, unfortunately, but I'm happy for second, that's for sure.
Well, happy for second, but you're going to be starting in 9th place in race number 2. Do you think you have enough in you to get another second place?
I think I'm going to have to attach those little inflatable bumpers to the side of the car to make sure I get back to that place. But yeah, I think I can do it, but it's going to take a lot of traffic management.
All right, Andrew. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck in race number 2, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks.
And I'll talk to DJ Alessandrini once again. He's quite common here in the SYM TV booth. And DJ, that race, you started on pole and slipped a spot early and then was never able to get it back. And a little bit of contact there with Ken meant you lost second to Andrew Pelota. But just walk us through that race, that attempt at the pass, and how you're going to be a couple spots better in race number 2.
Man, so I was sleeping on the whites apparently because I got swamped. And not going to lie, I thought about the championship points going into turn 1 3 wide. So I backed off. Good thing Andrew also backed off. So Ken had it for now. And I was fighting him. I knew it was only a matter of time until I'd get a run on him or something like that. But it was my fault. I didn't really notice how he was handling the turn 2 through 5 complex. He takes a slightly different line than me. I'm all over the curbs. I'm driving the thing like it's a rallycross car through there. So I carry a little shallower of a line and a lot more speed through there because I'm depending on jumping over the curbs. And when I turn in for that, it's full commit. I can't put the car anywhere else. And like I said, it was my fault. I should have noticed that Ken was doing it differently to know that I can't full send in there like that. And yeah, I locked it up because I'm pretty sure if I didn't jam on the brakes, I would have just punted Ken. And the way the rear engine death sled is he would just kind of go spinning into a wall, and I would have probably been fine, but I don't want to take Ken out like that. So luckily, I only lost a spot basically, and then I had a awesome drive with Tom. That was a lot of fun. It was like a puzzle trying to figure out how to get around him. He's still getting used to iRacing, but you can definitely tell that he's a professional driver, man. Just the way he positions his car. I was like, I wish I had a notepad while I was driving behind him, just because it was really, really good. The way he was positioning his car. And then I was probing on turn 17, the last corner. I was probing him to see kind of what his awareness is like, because he's on a single monitor. I don't know if he has looking around map to his keys. So I had a couple runs on him in turn 17, but I was playing it a little cautious. And then once I figured out that, man, Tom knows where I am, I tried my best to make it stick on the outside. And good thing, because then we went into the last lap. And then looks like Bill Griffin was probably didn't have his relative up, or maybe even the mirrors not on or something, because, man, he did not know we were there at all until I went buzzing by him in the grass. So avoided an incident there, and then unfortunately he murdered Tom McGorman. So unfortunate there. I was looking for the counter attack on Tom's part. It was going to be an exciting final lap.
All right, and an exciting final lap it was regardless, but DJ, we'll see you in race number 2. Good luck out there, and hopefully at the end of this we'll be talking to you as another champion here on SYM TV. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that'll wrap up race 1 coverage. We'll be back in just a few minutes with race number 2. Stay with us. We'll post the time that we'll be back on the commercial screen. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back live to SYM TV. I'm Kyle Heyer here with Finney and DeCuna for race number 2, the final round and the final race of the 2019 Track Midwest Cup Series. Finney, and race 1 was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, indeed it was. It was crazy in the first few laps. Settled out for a little bit, got spicy in the middle part of the race, and then extremely spicy towards the end. Some fantastic racing throughout the entire field, really. It was so hard to keep track of at the end, but some great driving from those guys, but they still got one more race to go, and last race of the season. And actually, speaking of last race of the season, with a slight points update, so with Alceal's first place finish compared to Alessandrini's third place finish, he's moved, he's closed the gap from, he was 25 points behind, it's now down to 18th, and he's actually passed Paul Darling. So he's definitely within striking range here, but it's kind of towards the tail end, and really, Alceal's really only shot, I think, is if Alessandrini runs into some trouble and does not get any points. That would mean, anyway, if Alessandrini doesn't get any points, Alceal will still have to finish at least third.
Well, let's not forget that these guys are not starting at the front of the field now.
No,
they're starting 9th and 10th. Actually, 8th and 10th, I believe, with Alessandrini being in 8th. So they're not completely in the clear for the start of this race. We saw how chaotic the start was for race number 1, and this goes for every week. This is not just a Sebring thing, but I think Sebring's got a harder turn 1 than most of the tracks we've gone to so far. So don't give the championship to Alessandrini just yet. We still have another 15 minutes to decide the champion. And Kevin Alceal, with his performance in race 1, I think he's got a shot at it as long as he can keep it clean in race number 2.
I think that's going to be the tough one, because again, it is the last race of the season. I can bet you a lot of drivers are probably feeling, you know, maybe I want to win today.
Well,
it might do, and again, a lot of these guys have nothing to lose. There really aren't too many prizes, as far as I know, on the line. Other than really bragging, right? Other than really bragging, right? So,
I'm sure that's probably the most important ones.
Woo, so I don't think people will be too hesitant to really throw a Hail Mary or two here and there.
Well, Ken Alceal said he's not afraid to throw a Hail Mary.
We saw on the start too. I mean, granted, it wasn't that really big, but I mean, definitely made an aggressive move and made it work. So hopefully we don't see anything too chaotic on the start, although again, final race of the season, I'm sure some guys want to get something done.
Now here's Thomas Foose in the number 27 car. He went around a couple times in the hairpin. And let's talk a minute about the hairpin here, Finney, because that really was a trouble spot for some people. And it wasn't in the middle of it. It wasn't people rear-ending each other. It was all about getting on the brakes. And we've talked so much about the makeup of the brakes here. I believe there's 6 piston front rotors and 4 piston rears. But the problem with these brakes here, Finney, is that they're really bad.
Yeah.
They're not good brakes.
They're not. They're really not.
And that's intentional. This car is supposed to be a Porsche's developmental car. Yeah. So they made it tricky on purpose. And the rear engine layout means most of the weight's in the rear. So you have to crank all that brake bias to the rear of the car. Now, when you do that, you're putting a lot of the effort that the brakes have into slowing the back of the car down, which if you lose grip back there, it sends it sideways. So if you lock up the rear brakes, it is a bad day. And that's what's been happening down there, is guys trying to overtake, and they just get on the brakes too much, lock up the rears, and go for a spin, and sometimes they're collecting other drivers.
Yeah, I mean, really, these have the most sensitive brakes compared to any car close to it, and even every car pretty much above its category, the GT3 and up, in the sports car world, has better braking ability than this car. This car is very prone to locking up, and like you said, for a purpose, it's supposed to be a development series for Porsche, with younger drivers getting a chance to get a ride. So this is to teach them not just to slam on the brakes every single time they approach a corner. You have to finesse the brakes, you have to be careful on it, you have to be careful on the throttle, and it really shows. And the best drivers really have shown to have a lot of talent.
Yeah, and I think that's what the other thing is. This is probably within the iRacing service. I have heard very few people say that this car is not fun to drive.
No, yeah, at the very least, it's definitely fun to drive.
And you want to know why that is?
It's fun.
It's because it's hard.
Yeah,
and it's because there's no nannies, no assists keeping you from wrecking your car. There's no traction control. There's no anti-lock brakes. There's no stability control. The only assists you really have are with the transmission not being an old-style H-pattern gearbox. I mean, that's really the only assist, quote-unquote, that these drivers have. I mean, it's a paddle-shifting gearbox, but everything else is raw and it's difficult to handle. And these drivers love that.
Yeah, it's a very fast car, very hard car to drive, so it really makes for a lot of interesting racing from a lot of guys literally darting around the track.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers get into GT3 cars, not the 911 GT, I'm talking about the GT3 FIA spec cars, and they feel numb, they feel lifeless. even GTE cars. So I think GTE cars are significantly more fun to drive, but some people still think that they're kind of lifeless and boring. These cars are not boring. If you feel comfortable in a 911 Cup car, you're driving it the wrong way, or you're way off the pace. I mean, to be fast in this, you have to be smooth, but you have to be on edge. Yeah. And that's why it's what makes Tom O'Gorman good, what makes Alessandrini and Hausiel and Pelota good, and Darling and Barroso. All those guys know how to hang a car out and absolutely drive the wheels off of it.
I mean, really, to go into some of these corners, you almost have to poop your pants out.
Well, that's not a technical term. But
yeah, that's the PG way of putting it. I would have said something else, but I really should. Yeah, you really do, because of how you drive it, how hard you have to drive into some corners. And have to take this corner, especially under acceleration. You have a hell of a lot of wheel spin. And it just, again, a lot of talent to drive this car, and it really shows.
Well, and another thing that we should keep in mind is, remember Tom O'Gorman, we talked about him before, won the Michelin Pilot Challenge in the TCR class at Daytona on Friday. Real world driver in IMSA. This is his second week on iRacing, and he has absolutely been so impressive. Yeah. And we always talk about, does anything from the sim carry over to real life? And there's debate over how much does and how much doesn't. But there's one thing that's completely undeniable, is that lots can be carried from the real world to the sim. Yeah. And I think that's very evident, and Tom O'Gorman is a perfect example of that.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I would say really the only thing holding him back is him still kind of learning out the kinks within the sim. Obviously, there's some minor differences compared to driving a real-life car to the sim. And again, he's really showing that he's learning. Hopefully he can keep the car on two wheels this time, because out of the last 3 weeks, he's ended 2 of them in the air. So hopefully he can end this race on the ground, and we will have a standing start this time.
No standing start, no pace car on the grid. So you know what that means, Finian. If you saw chaos before, it's going to be even crazier now. And remember, standing starts, you got to balance that clutch pedal, and a lot of drivers will just drop it and go. But from my personal experience here in the practice race last night, dropping it isn't always the best way to get launched. You maybe drop it and then slip the clutch a little bit, but obviously the drivers that have a clutch pedal installed on their rig will have a better time here than those who don't. It's going to be fun to watch, though. That's all I know. And we should probably just watch this from the blimp cam here. I think that's probably a smart idea.
Yeah, 10 minutes left in the gridding part of the
10 minutes?
session.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
That's a long time to grid up. We'd be sitting here for quite some time.
And 2, 1, and that's it. The lights are going to come on here. We're going to get ready to race here for the final race of the Track Midwest Power Track Midwest Cup Series.
That's why I do that
and
part.
green flag's out in the air.
Green flag flies, and we're going to be 3, 4, maybe 5 wide in the middle of the pack. There is a 4 wide. There's Paul Darling in the middle of it, down to turn number 1, side by side for the lead. Who's going to come out first? Does everyone get through here alive? Hausiel is tucked right up behind.
Oh, and a wreck.
Oh, Wilkinson spun around, and huge implications. Is that, oh my goodness, I can't even tell who that is. Pelota's caught up in it. Barroso, and absolute carnage here on lap number 1. And a 39 car pulls right across in front. And Wilkinson, Pelota's, just destruction.
But let's go back up to our leaders, because it's definitely getting spicy up here. Kusera's going to be leading the pack as well, and Darling in behind. Hausiel, Swenson, Fisher are top 5. And you see guys still swerving for position there. You see Alessandrini in the back of the pack, diving out here into the hairpin.
Well, he's got a championship to go. Wait, we got more cars upside down. Eric Coutil is one of them. He's packed up against the wall on the lid of that race car. That's not how you're supposed to drive it. Ido Waxman, whoa, also torn up. There's another car spinning and going for a loop there. Back up front here, though, Finian. Battle for second. Paul Darling and Ken Hausiel going for spots here. And remember, Ken Hausiel, was it 18 points behind? He's got to finish pretty far ahead of Alessandrini, and Alessandrini stuck back in 7th. This is his time to go for it.
And, I mean, Darling, too, is not going to give up. Darling still has a shot as well, but definitely is not going to lay anything down, and is going to try to keep Hausiel behind him.
But Hausiel doesn't have any time to waste. He's got to get that gap between him and Alessandrini as big as he can. Alessandrini's going for a look down here on the inside of Will Fisher. He'll complete that pass, move up to 6th. As down the back straightaway, the 155 and 15 will be battling for that second spot behind Robert Kusera in the number 8.
Kusera got a pretty comfortable lead, but it's closing ever so slightly as Darling and Hausiel chase him down. You can see everyone fanning through the back straightaway and into Sunset.
And 10 cars were wrecked out in lap number 1. That's probably one of the biggest crashes we've seen at the start of a race here in the Track Midwest Cup Series. Everyone's going for it at the end. Obviously, the standing start had something to do with that. As we come across the line, let's see who leads the first one. Kusera leads, Darling just behind 2/10. Ken Hausiel closing as well. Alessandrini up to 6th place but struggling to gain any more ground on Bradley Adams in the 69.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit of a gap compared to the rest of the cars ahead of him. As you see, Thomas Foose still struggling in race number 2. Looks like he had a little bit of damage yet to his nose, so he's going to try to cope with that.
Darling around, Vinny.
Darling is around. I was just about to say that he's going to have to find a way to get around Kucera without letting Hausil by, but unfortunately he made a mistake here in turn 2, and here comes Alessandrini on the outside of him.
Oh, and Alessandrini, this is going to be big here, as Alessandrini needs to get around the 155. He's probably going to be quicker than him, so the question is, how long does the 155 hold up Alessandrini? Let's go back and take a look at Darling as soon as we make sure that no funny business is going to come out of this corner. And, and just like that, Patak goes for a little spin. He'll collect it.
That corner has been the bane of his existence.
Okay, I lied. We're not going to go to replay. There's too much good stuff going on right now to go back there and take a look. So Ken Hausil has taken the lead away up front, but now there's a battle going on for 4th behind him.
And Alessandrini still can get it done, but here comes Bradley Adams ahead of these guys. And Adams has been having some good runs recently, but he's got a bunch of hungry drivers behind him. Here you see Lanning and Foose around.
Par for the course tonight. He's really struggled here at Sebring. He's going to be stuck right there for now as he waits for the field to go by. Here comes Paul Darling looking to the inside. Actually, that's the outside of Bradley Adams heading to the S's, and DJ Alessandrini is very vulnerable here, Finney. He cannot get himself caught up in a wreck.
If he gets himself caught up in a wreck, he can kiss the championship goodbye with Hausil leading.
Whoa, wow, way outside.
That was a very wide line. You got to be very careful that the weight loves to shift a lot, especially in corners like that. It can shift a little to one side, but he keeps it going. Here we see Tom O'Gorman with some damage to his
21
car.
spots gained in 2 laps, and obviously a lot of that had to do with the big crash, but huge move for that car. And Jeremy Swenson now sitting in 3rd place. Paul Darling and DJ Alessandrini battling. Where did Swenson come from? I didn't see him up there the whole time.
He finished pretty high, so he started pretty high, so he's currently running in 3rd.
Darling going defensive here.
And Alessandrini looks like he's going to keep it at bay for now.
Hausil needs Alessandrini to do worse than this.
Oh, he needs Alessandrini to pretty much wreck at this point. But definitely Hausil doing everything he needs to do, and he's currently leading the race.
Whoa, Alessandrini in there real hot, as was Darling, but they're going to collect it and continue. Philip Corsi in pit lane. That car is probably going to stop. Jonathan Yu goes for a wow. He's way off track over there in the S's. Let's take a quick look at what caused that. Actually, that's not the S's. That's actually turn 17, Sunset Bend. Got in there too hot and just looped it around. Whoa, oh, whoa, whoa, Paul Darling wrecked.
Oh, that's unfortunate for the 155. It was having such a good run in both these races and was having a good run in this one, but it looks like it's going to come to an end here.
This is down in the hairpin and too hard on the brakes. We talked about it earlier, Finney, and loops it around.
Oh,
that slowed Alessandrini.
Wow.
Oh, and that 69, yeah, he got in a piece of it as well.
That almost ended Alessandrini's race.
And that's all it takes. Now he's got Christopher Potter in the 9 car in front of him. So Alessandrini's stuck. He is not. But look at this battle here, Finney. And this is for 4th. Will Fisher over the curb entering the S's. He's got Christopher Potter all over his rear bumper. Alessandrini tucked in behind. This is a very vulnerable moment for that 91 car.
Yeah, again, he has to be very careful. At this point, he's got the championship in his favor, but of course, as a driver, you want to move up towards the front of the grid. But again, he's got to do so very carefully, as he can easily get crashed out.
Looking from high above, you see Potter using the slipstream to get to the inside of Will Fisher. Fisher allows him to go there. Not a defensive move by the 16 car. He'll let him get down there. Pass for position. Will Alessandrini stick his nose in here as well? He certainly tried to. And here he comes to the inside of Fisher, and that'll be for 5th place if he can get that pass done.
Again, Hausil looking probably at the scoring constantly, wondering where Alessandrini is currently as he runs in 5th, trying to now take away 4th away from Christopher Potter up ahead in 9th. Or, sorry, in the 9 car.
And Hausil is probably looking in the mirrors. We got another one spun in Sunset Bend. That's Christopher Murray around. And he gets it corrected. But Ken Hausil's probably looking at that relative box and thinking, you know, with all that carnage, I think he's probably a little bit disappointed Alessandrini didn't get caught up in more of it.
Yeah, and I ran the numbers here, and Alessandrini, if Hausil wins this race, Alessandrini needs to finish at least 13th.
Ooh, that's pretty far down, and he's going to go for 4th here.
Yeah, and again, this is not helping him at all, but Alessandrini is going to look to the outside as they head towards the hairpin, and the 9's going to give it to him.
Not quite. Back to the inside, going to fight it. Now he gives it away, 91 to 4th.
And Alessandrini continues his fight up towards the front of the grid.
And trying to find where Tom O'Gorman is, and he is up to 8th place from a starting position of 31st.
Yeah, I honestly, we got to take a look at his lap 1 after the race, because I'm sure it's going to tell an interesting story.
He's got some damage on that
Oh,
car.
and Alessandrini!
Oh, his
idiot's hit!
Oh no! Alessandrini, is that him? No,
that
no,
wasn't
he's
him.
good. Oh my goodness.
Potter's car looks similar.
Oh my god.
I saw an orange car flipping.
Oh man, that scared me to death.
That was very close, though.
What happened here? Okay, we probably just scared everyone watching. But he just gets loose out of the corner, and I think Will Fisher might have been the unfortunate person to send him for a loop, and Gorman just missed it up to 5th place now.
Gorman should upload his view of this to YouTube.
It'll be
It's gonna
spectacular.
Be very interesting.
Okay, so Alessandrini is all clear. He's got about 4 laps left in this race, and all he's got to do is not crash himself out.
Yeah,
He's completely
pretty
alone
much
now.
all he needs to do is just finish. Again, the lowest he can finish is 12th, and that's when he. Well, 12th they tie, so that's kind of up in the air as for that. But if he finishes at least 11th, he'll guarantee himself the championship and see some drivers struggling out of Sunset.
Yeah, it's the 39 car of Alex Barroso. He was almost in the fence out of turn 17. Woo! Tucks in behind K-Tune car. It's another 30-something. I can't tell exactly what number that is. 38, is that?
34.
38 car. That is the
that's
38.
38.
Thomas Foose and Wes Malusek here battling for 12th place.
Foose again has been up and down the grid in both races. Has really been struggling, but even with the damage to his car, he's maintained a solid 12th place.
Now her blood pressure gets a chance to drop after that scary moment there with Christopher Potter. Unfortunate for Potter, but we thought that was Alessandrini. That would have been huge implications on the points situation. Everyone kind of is getting themselves spread out now and kind of settling in for the long haul here. We do have quite a few cars retired from the race. Eric Coutil, actually, Eric Coutil has not had a very good day in that 82 car. Usually he's right up there with the front pack. Today has been a little bit of a rough ride.
And actually, speaking of drivers that haven't had a good day, let's see all the retirements. Actually, not as many as I thought.
Well, there's a couple of drivers that gotten a reset and come back out, but Darling, Pruden, Coutil, Pelota, and Bob Dice out of the race. And Chris Boersma around, I think that's just out of the hairpin here. Let's take a quick look. Oh, no, it's not. It's over on the far side of the course. And woo! Someone just got around it. Don't know exactly who that was. That golf cart, I believe that's the 39 of Barroso. Tom O'Gorman up to 5th place. We talked about how incredible his race number 1 was. And here he is in race number 2 after starting again in 31st place. Up 26 positions from the start. We will go back and watch that first lap on board with the 94 here at the end. Philip Corsi goes for a spin.
A lot of drivers spinning out here. I'm kind of wondering if we can actually take a look at the track information or weather information here.
Not any warmer than it was before. I think it's just being tricky. And Wes Malusik goes for a spin as well. And he is off track and damaged. Let's take a look. Ooh, that was a hard hit here. Here's a replay. Oh, I don't even think that's what I'm supposed to. Oh, it is. What happened there?
Honestly, I think he was looking somewhere else and drifted off into
Either
the
that
grass.
or a hardware failure. Let's ride on board and see if we can get the wheel input.
This looks like distracted driving right there.
I heard the throttle. I don't know what happened there, but that's a weird one for sure.
Yeah, that is.
Whoa!
See the car flipping into
Okay, all right. Anyway, battle for the lead. No, it's Ken Hausil out up front again. That's Rob Wilkinson, who was taken out in that lap 1 wreck. He's a lap down now. Any more battles on the racetrack? All separated quite a bit now. There's some smoke lingering in the air. Oh, there's a push to pass there. The 30 of Jacob Reel getting a little bit of a shove from, I can't quite tell who that is behind him. Oh, it is Jonathan Yu in the 33.
Yeah, you struggling a little bit of internet here. Gave a little bit of a punt to the 30. headed towards the hairpin. Does you dive into McPass, and he's going to settle in behind for now.
Not quite. Not going to make that pass. Hausil out up front now by 4 seconds, and he did everything he needed to do here. He just didn't quite have luck on his side for this race. We only have 2 minutes left in this event.
And O'Gorman's dropped back quite a few spots.
Yeah, I think we might have missed something there because his last lap time wasn't too bad. Maybe we'll take a look and see if we can find what happened to the 94 car. Ah, here it is. This is over in turn number 2. Did he get some help, or was this all on his own?
From the looks of it, it might have been all on his own.
He's had some damage, I think, that made the car unstable. Gets in there a little bit too hot. Sends it around for a loop and lost a couple spots there. Still position number 8 for the 94 car. Woo! Close moment there with the 69. Battle for second is heating up. Kucera and Swenson getting closer and closer. Last time by, Swenson was 0.3 of a second quicker.
Swenson, a really big underdog, has really picked it up in the last week or two.
Oh, and they're really hot. Manages to get it down to the apex and the 8 car.
Loose on the throttle, so that's going to help Swenson reel him in.
Right on board with the 20 car here for just a moment. We'll watch the backside of the course, and there's a lot of tall curbs here, Finney, and some of them you want to hit, some of them you don't, and Swenson avoids that one. We should be coming to white flag next time by, and we got another incident on the racetrack. It's Borsma again in the 38, and that's a wreck. That's in the hairpin. Oh, got on the brakes too hard there, it looked like.
Yeah, I think just hit the brakes too much, and then again we've been talking about braking. Oof, yeah, way too hard on the brakes, and the car looped around. And also, it doesn't know that it's a very tricky spot to rejoin the track. And as you see, the 8 of Kucera now coming onto the back straightaway. Swenson in tow right behind.
Oh, yeah, and tell me about it. He's completely in tow. He's going to be in the slipstream, and it looks like the 8 car is going to go defensive, and the 20 car is going to have to swing to the outside and make an attempt in turn number 17 here.
And it's going to be a matter of who's going to be able to outbrake the other. You see Swenson trying to get side by side with Kucera. Kucera loose as he tries to keep it to the right side of the track, and he does a good job of doing so.
Andrew Lanning wrecked out.
And Lanning, yeah. Big damage to his car.
And this was, he already had damage prior to this wreck. Let's take another look.
Oh, loose on the brake and gets the grass, and around he goes.
A long, lazy spin there, unable to catch it. And goes for a loop. All right, we're on the final lap here at Sebring. White flag in the air. Ken Hausil has just a couple miles left to win and sweep Sebring International Raceway in the season finale of the Track Midwest Cup. Had he done this a couple weeks in a row, he would be the champion, but Alessandrini having too good of a day for that to really be a realistic opportunity. But back here, battle for second, Kucera and Swenson trying to get it done.
Again, Swenson right there behind Kucera, but I don't know if it's close enough to get it done.
Bradley Adams, oh, he wrecked that car here. And that car was already destroyed. But again, last lap, we'll go back live here and finish off this race. Hausil continues to lead. Kucera in second, Swenson third. I don't think Swenson's going to have enough time to get there, but he's certainly going to get everything he can give. And this has just been such a good season for Hausil, just not quite as good as Alessandrini. He's a tough guy to beat, that DJ guy. And Hausil has done a great job in doing what he can do and controlling what he can control. Had it not been for the bad race at Road America last week, he might have been your champion tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure this one's going to feel a little bittersweet for the 15 car. Actually, changed numbers between both these races. 24 in the last race, but yeah, Hausil is going to feel a little bit bittersweet from this. He's going to win both races, actually, but just unfortunately not going to win the championship.
Through turn number 17, one more time around the bumpy stuff here in Sunset Bend, and Ken Hausil in the Brumos livery will round turn 17 and come home to a second checkered flag on the evening. Ken Hausil sweeps at Sebring.
Indeed, he sweeps up behind them. Robert Kucera and Jeremy Swenson still battling for position. Well, it's kind of died down, so Kucera going to finish in second, Jeremy Swenson third, and more importantly, DJ Alessandrini will come across the line in fourth and will win the championship here in the Track Midwest Cup Series.
And top 5 again, so another good race, but got caught up in a lot of unnecessary chaos there in that race, and obviously not of his doing, but will come across the line fourth. That should be good enough to lock up the championship as the rest of the field comes across the line with beaten and battered Porsche 911 Cup cars.
And again, speaking of beaten and battered Porsche 911s, we're going to take a look again after everyone crosses the line. We're going to take a look at the first lap carnage because there was a lot of it.
Well, Tom O'Gorman comes home in 7th place after starting 31st. That has got to be, I'm not sure if it's a record for positions gained in the Track Midwest Cup Series, but it's going to be darn close if it isn't. This is a battle for position here, Murray and Schlavine, but I think Murray's going to hang on. This will be for 15th spot. And through the final corner, the sun setting here. And whoa! Schlavine's going to spin it. And remember, he crashed on the last lap last time.
Yeah, almost hit the pit road attenuator, but is going to keep on going.
And he'll cross the line in 17th tonight. Jonathan Yu 18th. Ali Sali in 19th. Philip Corset in the 12th car. He'll be 20th. Luke McGrew 21st. William Griffin will be the last car to cross the line here. He's still got to go down the last straightaway. In a moment, we will ride on board with the first lap from the 94 car of Tom O'Gorman, and we'll see all that chaos that happened on that opening lap. And let's go find all that right now, Finian. What a wild moment that was. So bear with me for one moment while I pull this up, because you're not going to want to miss this.
I'm sure we're going to see a lot of cars flying through the air. I'm sure O'Gorman's glad that it's not him this race. And he got a fantastic view of this. And he's so far back that he's actually curved on the start towards sunset.
All right.
Starting in 31st.
Wow, look at that start. Immediately jumped a couple spots. And you already see smoke from the tires here, and they get down to turn number 1, and this is where all the magic happens.
And he was right up towards the wall, so I'm interested in seeing how he got through all of this. Already see some spinning.
Oh, wow! That's where he got his damage, but look at all the chaos in front of him. And where do you go in all this mess? Right through the middle. Thread the needle. Here comes Tom O'Gorman.
Must be great through traffic jams because he navigated that perfectly.
They're just splitting cars left and right. We'll ride on board for the rest of the lap here. Down into the hairpin. There was still some more carnage that he passed, and we'll stay on board for a couple more laps here, or a couple more minutes. See 83 of Dennis Barrett.
This is in or around 15th place. I already moved up almost halfway through the bridge here.
Another slip up by the car in front. Ooh, he even went for a slide there. I think most of those spots were gained on that initial crash, but we'll stick on board for the rest of the lap in case there was anything we missed.
Doug Metzel up there battling. He's going to lose that spot. You can already see Gorman making up the time here. Huge amounts of time just on braking alone.
Look at that line through there, using every bit of the racetrack, getting up and over the curbs. On to the back straightaway. I would love to ride on board the gyro cam as soon as we get through sunset and we make sure that we haven't missed anything. We'll go back one more time, look at that first part of the lap from the gyro on board. Just phenomenal stuff to watch here. And I'm going to have to go back and grab it again, of course, because of the replay system here.
Yeah, I guess you can go technical difficulties.
There we go. All right, here is the gyro onboard camera from the 94 Tom O'Gorman.
Yeah, this initial jump here, fantastic. Already gains about 3 spots alone on that start.
So is passing to the left of a driver in your lane not applicable on a standing start? Because I have to imagine he would have gotten penalized for that if it was...
Oh, yeah, no, it's a free-for-all on a standing start. You can pass wherever you want.
Look at this.
Once the lights go, and yeah, just... Again,
look at this.
Fantastic car
look at
control.
That.
Just weaving through. And again, it's a very narrow section of track, this part of the track. So, did a great job navigating through a lot of it in those first few corners.
All right, let's take one more look from up above and see if you can keep your eye trained on that second yellow and black striped car. But you can see him mostly miss this here. Got a little bit of damage from contact there. Then just watch everyone scattering and watch the expert moves here.
Yeah, that was the most impressive piece of driving.
All right, let's
right there
finish up here, and we'll head back live, Finian, and we'll grab the drivers to interview. And unfortunately, we won't be able to interview Tom O'Gorman as he does not have a microphone, but we will interview Ken House-Seal and others. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back live here to SYM TV. We're here again with Ken House-Seal, again victorious here at Sebring. Ken, you swept both races this time, and it wasn't easy either time. Very chaotic start to that race and a lot of DNFs, but somehow you managed to get your way through there. But is this a little bittersweet after sweeping these races and looking back on the crash at Road America?
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bittersweet. I mean, this week made up for it. I feel really good about it, but man, what could have been?
At what point do you look in the mirror and see DJ there, and do you drive any differently knowing that DJ is 4th place versus if he was in 20th?
I probably would have driven a little more gently if I saw DJ way down there, but I knew he was managed to make it through the turn 1 chaos pretty well, so I knew I needed to just keep pushing.
All right, Ken. Well, congratulations on sweeping Sebring. Obviously, a fantastic performance today, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Hopefully you're back with the WDCR SCCA guys next week at Watkins Glen.
We'll be. Thanks, guys.
All right, see you later. All right, now we're going to talk to Thomas Foos, driver of the number 27 car. And Thomas, tonight, ups and downs here at Sebring, and it spent a little bit of time sideways in the grass, but a solid top 10, an 8th place for you in race number 2. Talk to us about that second race.
Yeah, well, I got behind the 8 ball, finishing pretty far back in race 1. I spun myself and then got into a little contact, so started in the 20s or so, and then made it through most of the turn 1 carnage, and then got bumped later on and dropped back to around the 20th spot, and just kept working my way forward. Keeping it on the track is the biggest thing with this car, and I was able to do that for the most part after cutting through the grass. So it was a fun race.
A fun race indeed. Did the standing start contribute to the chaos that we saw in the first lap, or was that just due to everyone going for it at the end of the season?
Yeah, I would say it was the latter. Mostly just people going for it. I know I was going for it. I kind of got into somebody in turn one, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it's everybody just trying to get track position right away, and that's sometimes what happens in turn one.
All right, Thomas. Well, congratulations on a solid top 10 finish, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future. Fantastic performance in race number 2.
Thanks. Take care.
You too. All right, now we'll talk to champion DJ Alessandrini, and it's not his first time being in the SYM TV booth after winning a championship. DJ, you had a lot of things to overcome in race number 2, and there was a couple scary moments, and at one point we thought you were overturned, but it was actually Christopher Potter behind you. But 4th place finish is good enough for a championship. Talk to us about the season in general as well as race number 2.
Man, that race number 2 there, that was a very stressful race because I knew I had to at least get 12th. So basically, you just finish the race and you win. But man, there was a lot of stuff in that race trying to keep me from finishing. So I have to throw out a couple of thank yous just because I'm pretty sure they're watching. I have to say thank you to my dad. We took a trip down to Florida for some exciting things happening this year. And he was a trooper, man. He stayed up like 38 hours straight. We both took turns driving down there. And so thanks, Dad, for doing that with me. I don't know if I could have done that alone. And I want to thank my fiance, Christine, for always putting up with me, chasing dreams and putting in laps on iRacing. And yeah, there's a bunch of other people I want to thank, like the dojo. That's the team that I'm on. So thank you to those guys for always pushing me. Special individual thanks out to Ken for always pushing me and just forcing me to get better in this off season. So, you know, I appreciate him digging deep, which makes me dig even deeper. So, but as far as the races go, like I said, race 2 was real stressful. Race 1 was real fun. The season was really just me learning this Nazi death sled, aka the Porsche Cup car. It's such a challenging car. It's super unforgiving. It has made me way better at iRacing. Just my braking discipline has gotten way better since starting to drive this thing. It forces you to get better. So thank you, Track Midwest, for taking a chance on this car. It seems like everybody hates it by the end of the 4th week, but man, this thing is awesome. It just forces you to be a better driver, and isn't that why we're all doing this?
Well, another reason why we're all doing this here, DJ, I have to mention one other thing that is exciting coming up for you this year. So far, you've won 2 championships in 2 different series that we broadcasted, so you're 2 for 2. And another series that we're broadcasting is the upcoming 2019 Spec MX5 Sim Racing Championship, and you're competing in that. So, I mean, obviously, you're 2 for 2 so far. Do you think you can go 3 for 3?
So that, I mean, I've scrolled through the list of people in that, and there's some legends. I'm certainly going to give it a shot. It's definitely going to be a battle. But I can win that if I have 0 mistakes, and there's been quite a few mistakes in this league alone. So I'm gonna give it my best shot. But man, those guys in that competition are ridiculously good, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to dedicate the amount of time needed to practice with that, because I'm getting ready for the Grid Life Touring Cup this year. This will be my first year doing wheel-to-wheel racing, so that's going to take precedent over, even if the MX5 spec thing is a really good opportunity. I don't know if I could put all my eggs in that basket, just because I really want to go racing for reals.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, DJ. Thanks for talking to us. Congratulations on another championship, and hopefully we'll see you back again next week in the WDCR SCCA group again, where we first saw you, DJ. Thanks again, and we'll see you later.
Thanks, guys. You guys always do a great job.
Thanks a lot, DJ. Have a great night. All right, Finney, and again, that wraps up another fantastic season of racing here on SYM TV. The first one that we've done with the Track Midwest Cup Series, and hopefully we'll be back for more in just a couple of weeks. And first we have to thank our sponsors, 9 Lives Racing, Auto Assets, Grid Life, and Syndicate Race Photos, coming on board to help support this series and support the drivers as well. And DJ mentioned the Grid Life touring series that he will be competing in this year as well. So Grid Life obviously huge in the motorsports world, and we want to thank them for coming on board. But Finian, this is probably one of the most talented group of drivers that we've ever seen here on Sim TV, especially driving one of the trickiest to drive cars in sim racing.
Yeah, not to mention also some of the trickiest tracks on the sim. I mean, you talk about Sebring, also VRR and Road America, and with those cars, pretty tricky. Those are all really tricky tracks to drive. So, just really kind of shows how well suited these drivers are to their cars, how much they know about it, and how well they can drive it. And we see some fantastic racing with these guys driving on the edge of grip. So just great racing overall, and just only 4 rounds.
So another season of racing here at Sim TV as it sets in the background of Sebring, Florida. We'll be back with more racing, and if you're not subscribed to this channel, you should be, because we got incredible things coming up in 2019. 7 days of racing action in the middle of the summer, and hardline action coming up on Friday. That is their chase that is going on right now. Saturday, the Virtual Racing League is at Auto Club Speedway, and that'll be a fantastic race as well, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. If you're not so much an oval guy, next Wednesday is the first round of the WDCR SCCA group of guys that we were with last season under the Virtual Mars name. They'll be back at Watkins Glen International with a 3-class format using the Kia Optima front-wheel drive touring car, the Ford FR500 Mustang, and the MX-5. We'll be back next week with road racing action from Watkins Glen, New York. Thanks a lot, and have a great night.